Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes. It's
Uh,
small, splitted, I think.
okay, let me bump it up. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining today. I'm sharing this agenda document in the chat here. If you all can put your name in the attendees, that will be helpful. And then I realize there are a lot of new faces in the DRA sync. So, do we want to start off with brief introductions?
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's do that. So, or can you go first?
Or from CNV Network, software engineer for 6 years in Red Hat. That's it.
Thanks. Antonio, you can go.
My name is Antonio Gea. I work at Google now. I worked at Red Hat before. I've been in networking all my life, and the last 6 years in Kubernetes networking. I'm a TL in SIG Network, and SIG Network got this feedback from the communities that networking was a second citizen, and we implemented these Kubernetes network drivers with DRA. And this is one of the reasons why I'm here. See how can we help KubeVirt to have a more native integration with Kubernetes.
Thank you for joining, Antonio. Edward, do you want to go next?
Sure. I work for, I'm in the KubeVirt project for some time now. I'm also my career was mainly on networking related stuff. Work for Red Hat. Yeah, that's it, I guess.
Thank you. Aurel?
Hi, my name is Orel. I tried it for and a little few months, years, working on the KubeVirt project for the same amount of time. That's it, I guess.
Thank you. Nestor?
Yeah, hi, Nestor here. Yeah, working for IBM and Red Hat Partner Engineer. So working basically on the mainframe, taking care that the stuff last year we were taking care that the KubeVirt works on S390X. And now we are taking care about new features. One of the reasons why I'm here because we are interested in enabling these cryptographic adapters using DRA into KubeVirt.
Thank you. There's one more, Anaya.
Hey, my name is Ananya.
Sorry, I got your name wrong.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm also from the CNV network team, and I've been with Red Hat for around 5 years, and I'm new to KubeVirt, so like 6 months.
Thank you. Welcome. I'll go last. My name is Alai. I work at NVIDIA. I've been on KubeVirt side of things for 3-4 years now. Most recently, I've been working on integrating DRA with a couple of ecosystem projects like KubeVirt and Q. So very much involved on the DRA side of things in those projects and as well as in upstream Kubernetes. So thank you, everyone. And so I think the plan for today is to go dive deep into the network integration aspects of DRA. So, Aurel, I think you have a document that you want to present. Can you, do you want access to the screen or do you want me to present?
Actually, it was all Joval.
Oh, sorry. Or, yes, you did. My bad.
Yeah, all good. I will share. Yes, Antonio, I added you in the Google in the document.
I think Antonio is mentioning this agenda document. So
yeah, attendee list. Yeah.
I think you need to be part of the KubeVirt dev mailing list to get access.
Do not worry. Somebody just add me. It's just
Okay.
to be
Thank you.
to be polite with the community.
Leonel is also with us. I don't remember if we.
Sorry, I missed somebody. Oh,
Maybe.
Lionel, go ahead. You can go ahead introducing yourself.
Yes, thanks. So I joined Red Hat recently. I'm working on OpenShift networking, and I'm focusing mostly this last year on focusing on DRA and multi-network.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
So
okay,
to
let's. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. Share just a moment. DRA. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, weird. I can't see it. It's okay. You still see it, right? You see the document.
Yes.
Okay, so this discussion will talk about the issue Antonio opened that suggests to add networking API that will work with DRA. Okay, so in the discussion, let's talk about two parts. First part is the API, and the second part is about migration and what it required. Because and these two parts, hopefully, if all agree, will be the VEPs, the two VEPs that we are doing. Please stop me whenever you want for question, comments, and so on.
I have a quick comment here, so as part of Web 10, which is the DRA support for KubeVirt web, in last couple of calls in this DRA sync meeting, we've been leaning towards having all the API related stuff coordinated in that web. Unless you have specific networking things which makes it completely different, if you don't mind, we can take the API pieces of it and talk about it there. It will be a common web for APIs across all the different things. So that could be one option, but I don't want you to stop or discourage digging on this. So go ahead and you can start presenting. Just wanted to share that context.
Okay, no problem. I understood it correctly. Add it to Web 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So let's say we have this resource claim, okay? We have it already about the amazing work you did. A resource claim template, okay? Let's say we have it's for SROVs. So what we suggest is that for virtual machine, we will use, as Antonio suggested in his issue, that we will use a new type of field under network. If until now we had only a pod or multus, we will be able to add a resource claim. And then the resource claim points to a resource claims, okay? The claim name will point to a resource claim name. This we already have on KubeVirt. The only addition is this one, which the resource claim field with the claim name and the request name. We will talk about it more deep in a moment. And then the interface, as exactly as it is today, the interface will point to the network. Note that today already interface comes with a network one by one. Okay, they're always coming. It's not one-to-many or something, and it is always also one-to-one interface that is added to the pod, and from there added to the XML of delivered guest. Is it okay? So far, so good?
Yes. Just a quick comment. Just for completion, can you also add the converted XML here in this document?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The XML snippet that we had?
Yes, please.
Sure. Okay, yes. So once we have this, there is basically also, if you want to look, a quick and dirty PR. It's not something to review. It's just something if you want to take a look. It is for me to create easier the PR, the web, and to learn the stuff. Okay, so we will need let's skip this about this field the discussion later if it's optional or not, because it's a little broader design discussion that has a PR that also try to fix for the current host devices and GPU. What we after discussion with Eddie, I think that the first web will be only to allow this API, okay? It will not support migration. What it does is basically it will know to how DRA works today. It takes the information from the resource claim and add it to the VMI status in a field named the device status. And from there, this the Virt controller does. And from there, the Virt launcher take it from the VMI and amend the XML. This is about the API. Now, let's talk about migration. For migration, we also created a little quick and dirty, very quick and dirty. And yes.
Sorry, I had my hand raised, but it looks like you can't see.
I can see, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'll speak up. Before you move to migration, right? When networking is implemented for this API, the network DRA API, right? I think it was below the red resource claim name. What is the new? What are new metadata, device metadata information would you need in the status? In the VMI status?
For now, I don't need any new device. You mean in the status, device status? I don't need anything new at the moment. It works already. Because
so
I have
we only have PCI address and MDEV UUID. So the networking will work with PCI address, is that?
Yes, and we also need the name of the network, which is added already.
Yes. Okay,
yes.
So just a heads up, there is a cap in Kubernetes where we are going to migrate the downward API. Okay, you are aware about this, but for everyone, yeah. So if you plan to talk about this, then go ahead. We can talk about it. Yeah.
Sorry that I cut you. Yeah, maybe I will also add what our device status looks and so on. Yes, so if we talk about migration, this PR creates...
Before you move, I have a question. So,
sure.
Then I have some questions that are naive because I don't fully understand. So in this snippet that you paste, it seems that you only assume that the interface is done at creation. And I always heard from KubeVirt use cases that you may want to have hot plug interfaces that get attached later.
Today, if we talk about SRV hot plug, what is done is that we first remove the interface from the source, okay? Then initiate migrate. By migration, Virt copies the domain XML, and it already amend the launcher, the target with the new SRV on the target node. And from there, what we are doing is hot plugging by checking that we have a download API that tells us, like the cap that I mentioned, that tells us what is the PCI, and then we hot plug it. We add it to the XML, but the XML itself moves without it. Okay, it can't move with it. KubeVirt is the one that copies the XML from the source to the target, and it can't have it because it's a host device. It comes with the node. So basically what we are doing is once the XML is there on the target and the VM is running, we amend the XML and then we are doing hot plug. Is it okay? Yes, please.
Sorry for barging in. Antonio, what do you mean by hot plugging? I don't think this what Or mentioned now was about migration. But what do you mean when you say hot plug?
The request that we usually have is, the pod is static, right? And then you can create a resource claim and it gets allocated. But then you cannot modify after that, right? So I'm trying to understand. I think that there is people working on making this that you can modify once allocated. I'm just trying to understand that we capture your use cases so we don't put you in a corner, right, with this design. I'm just trying to get the feedback from you and all use cases and try to see how it works. It's more for myself, for my mental model.
Okay, so you are talking about the hot plug in sense of adding a new interface or maybe removing an interface and stuff like that. So in this sense, for SRV case, I think it's with KubeVirt today supports it using migration. So what happens is that you can add a new SRV interface to the desired state of the VM. And then in order for that to happen, the VM needs to be migrated. So on the target side, it moves to a different node. So on the target side, a new pod is created with this new interface added. So that's on the pod creation. And then it can be hot plugged into the domain, into the VM itself.
And that is enough for you? Or do you expect more flexibility to make this more dynamic from the Kubernetes part?
Yeah, so there it's like for in KubeVirt we also like there is another hot plug that we have it and it's in place, which means that for regular interfaces like tab-based interfaces, like virtual ones, you can define a new interface, and then it will be changing the pod annotation, the Multus pod annotation, the network one, and that will cause Multus to hot plug to call a CNI to hot plug a new interface VET inside the pod, and then we will continue from there to hot plug it into the domain. That's like only for virtual. It doesn't work for SRV because it's like static.
Perfect.
So
that
so if you will support that one, it will be nice for Kube because it will be like it will sync. But I'm not sure if this is like any blocker today or something. We do not know about someone that required this in explicitly. Like we didn't get feedback about it yet.
So Antonio, while KubeVirt has support for hot plugging disk in place disks, right? And there was in the very early discussion of KubeVirt when we talked about NVMe devices, which is separate from network, I understand. But there was a mentioning in that particular use case that you might need in-place allocation, where the same pod has to then hot plug a NVMe device because it was used earlier, or maybe somebody has paused that VM. So
Just a time check because I need to move in 8 minutes. And sorry for these questions. It's for me to understand, is what is important for you and try to get a priority list. So if you don't mind, because I will be sad if Or is not able to finish the presentation.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Just to conclude, apart from network, there is an NVMe case which might need this, but nobody is working on that as of now. So no priority.
Okay, thank you. So is it fine that I will continue to migration?
Yes.
I hope so. Yeah, thank you. So when we try to do a migration quick and dirty, we saw that as we said, today the VMI status, device status is updated according the active pod. And on migration, we know that we have a source pod and a target pod. And later on, once the migration finished, the active pod is the target pod becomes the active pod. And it means that in the VMI, which is a shared resource between the two pods, we hold the device information, which is raceful, and what we had the same problem at the past and solved it by having the download API. Okay, the download API is, as Eddie said, once we have the Multus annotation, we copy this annotation to another annotation, and there is a controller that asynchronously runs and creates a file on the pod with the information, and then Virt Launcher this way knows the information for the device, PCI address and the name, to add it to the XML. So basically, and if I understand correctly, it correlates to your cap. What we see that the solution for this problem is, instead of having it in the VMI status, we will have CDI will inject it, CDI, or how the cap will implement it if it will be part of a standard Kubernetes. Sebastian suggested that that CDI will inject a file with it will look like claim/request, and here a list of PCI. Okay, and this way a file. This is a file with, instead of the for migration for SRUV, the SRUV driver will add this file, and then we don't need the SRUV will not need to depend on the VM status. Okay, later on, once Kubernetes do it by himself, we can replace the wall mechanism that Virt controller does today to update the VMI status, and the pods will have this information, and then we can consolidate SROV, host devices, and GPU. Okay, so the plan in a high level is to create a second web. Once we finish the first web and the implementation, is to create a second web, and first have a standard how CDI will look like, or how the cap will look like, because Virt Launcher will have a generic code for that, and the web will mean that say that we need to read this code by Virt Launcher, and then according this code to add it to the XML if it's not in the domain already. This is exactly what we are doing today. We compare the spec and the domain, and if it's missing, we read the file and the edit. Is it okay?
I want to just clarify things. First of all, Ali, I think this is this device status thing on the VMI. This is from the existing solution that is not GA8, right?
Yes, that is alpha. Okay. No, that is alpha.
Yeah, so there is a problem in general, and we knew about it with SRV, and this is, I guess, reflected here, but I think it needs to be fixed. The information about the what the pod has, like what you have in the pod, what is inside or what is reflected, is not a VMI thing. This is odd to say it, but a VMI because it's migratable, it can have up to at least 2 pods. So it has the source pod during migration. It has the source pod and the destination pod, and you cannot raise it on a specific status field in the VMI because you have 2. So when will you switch? It's very problematic. So the solution with SRV was that we are bypassing this from the VMI. So the VMI only includes some abstraction about this device status, but the real thing is passed between the Virt controller that sees the pod, right? It sees what was desired on the pod, and to the Virt launcher that lives inside the pod, like the application inside the pod. So these two one needs to put their information and the other needs to consume it. If you have the download API, I guess, then you could pass the information directly from the pod to the file system of the pod, so the application there can read it.
Yeah,
which is fine.
That was the plan. So the same exact issue happens with migration in case of GPU as well. It is not currently supported, the GPU migration, but it was discussed in the in the WAP 10 design document. And what we said at that time is we will do the alpha release with this VMI status, but before going to beta, we will have this downward API experimented and see how it will look like and whether it would solve this migration problem or not. So it looks like we are both converging on this. And in 136, I have 5606 enhancement as something that I'll work on, and we'll get progress on it. So I think we are all aligned there.
Yeah, but the only thing that I want to comment here, is that I do not want to depend on anything on the VMI status in this regard, even from the day 0. I will prefer to have a solution that it's more close to the end solution, but not to this intermediate. Depending on the VMI status is it's problematic because you don't really need to have a lot of, don't need to solve all kind of things that the other one needs to solve. So we already have experience with SRV, so I think we could utilize that experience here as well. Even if we need to do something like
temporary.
maybe temporaries. Like for example, temporaries for me is that you will convert the device info that is coming from Multus. We can do the same in the existing download API that we have. So if people don't know, this here is like Multus is adding an annotation on the network status on the pod, and we take some of the information there, mainly the device info, and we put it in a special annotation on the pod, our KubeVirt annotation that is downward API, that uses downward API to reflect it back to the pod itself. So we could take this information for whatever the DRA thing is exposing and put that information also in that API in a device info format maybe, or something like that, and then we don't need to do special things.
Yeah, another option. Yeah, another option is that the device, the driver itself will implement a CDI meanwhile. It will create the file meanwhile, as will be in the long run for the cap, with the same format and so on.
You mean that it will put the environment variables as part of the putting the device in the
file,
pod?
Yeah, a file instead of
it's variable. A file or it's an environment variable?
File.
Okay.
But with CDI, you are able to inject environment variables, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, you are able to inject environment variable, but we have a long-running issue why environment variable will not be useful. Yeah.
No, I was trying to assess the technical problem versus the design problem. Okay, I think that. That's fair. I just was assuming that we thought that, I think with CDI, you're able to influence everything, right? Also to add your own hooks. But
Correct.
environment variables, I think that is native from the CDI.
Yes, I think the issue with environment variable is that it's hard to resolve the entire resource claim, request name, claim name, entire string into a concrete value, right? So that's why environment variable is a little problematic. Instead, we populate entire CDI file spec, and that CDI file has entire metadata. So request name, claim name, and the PCI address or any other attribute you need.
Yeah, honestly, I lost you a little bit. What is the problem with the CDI, if you can? With environment variables?
Yeah, so with environment variable, you need two level of resolution, right? You need to know the claim name, and then you need to know the request name inside of the claim. Now, with environment variable, you can only use underscore as separators. You can't use any other thing as a separator. So you have to, the environment variable name has to encapsulate the claim name as well as the request name. And if the user has underscore in either their claim name or request name, or have weird request and claim names, then it will be very ambiguous. And KubeVirt will not be able to figure out the claim name and request name from it. I think I have an entire section why this is problematic here. I'll share it in the chat.
Thank you. Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, and Sebastian suggested that we will use a file. I'm not sure how we meant it with CDI or with something else. I will need to sync with him.
Yeah, there was one comment he made on the cap, which is the network. Some of the networking information will be available after the pod has started. So how can we populate that information reliably into the pod?
Which one, for example? What? I'm not. First, I don't know to answer you.
Yeah, there is a comment in this cap. I'll find it.
Okay.
No, not this. Put an action item on me to find it and share it with folks.
Just a moment. Not sure how to add action item. I will write down. What? How can I go out of just a moment? Let's say.
Okay, we can do it after. But you can just comment on something. Like, you can just comment.
Ask Rai to find the problem about fields that are added on the fly and how to add them. Okay.
Yeah, I just added the link here in the chat.
Okay, thank you. This one?
Yeah.
My internet is slow today, sorry. Okay. Not this one, this one. Yeah. We need to go over it now, or it's fine offline, whatever you prefer.
No, I think it's offline.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yes, awesome.
Wait 1 second. Regarding the API, currently, if I understand correctly, the API suggestion is to have one specific device assigned to the network, right?
Yes. As today for the other bindings.
Yes, the request name makes it one, right?
Again, please, the request name one? Specify one?
Yes, this I'm asking.
Yes, so this is the next decision. you are right, but this is opening the following up discussion. If you want, I will dive in it in a moment. I will dive it in a moment, but let's see that we, if it's okay, that we cover the rest of the stuff first, because this is the last topic, basically, as you said. Is it fine that everybody,
yes.
other questions? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, please continue.
Yeah, okay. So you are right. If we split this for SRLV only, okay, for the new API, let's talk about two scenarios. One, when you have in your resource claim or resource claim template only one device, and then you can either put this field or not, okay? Because what Kubernetes does is add, if you don't have a request name, it add everything that in the resource claim, okay? So if you have just one, it is always add just that one. So either if you put this field or not, it will use it. But the problem starts if you have two devices in the same claim, for example, VF and GPU, or you have count, which equal 4. And then this is we can't say that the user will need to add the request name, because if it doesn't, what happens is that we will not know which device that was added to the pod to bind to the XML, okay?
So you are saying that there is a need to specify the request name in order to classify it as to classify it to the network. For example, in this case, to the network red.
Yes.
This is what you are saying?
Yes, if you have multi-devices.
Yeah, no, but we are talking, there is no point of talking single devices in the resource claim. I don't know what will be in the resource claim template. So I'm taking the worst case. The worst case is that there are multiple there. So if there are multiple there, then means I must specify it, right?
Yes, so to make this mandatory, this is an option. If in API we make this field mandatory, you solved it without any more code to assertion or so on.
Yes, I don't see, Ale, do you see an idea to have it manual? I don't see, optional. It must be set. If you don't set it, I don't know what will happen. Or is there a way to classify it?
No, so there might be two related issues here. First, this field can be made mandatory, yes. However, the way we have come up with the structs, the claim name and the resource request name itself is a single struct that gets embedded inside of a larger struct, and the whole struct is optional because either it will be pod : that or resource claim colon claim name and request name, right? And to make the whole struct optional, we need to make these two things optional. So the way we have it right now is at the API level, this field is optional, but then the webhook will, look at it and say you cannot have an optional request name if the claim name is already satisfied.
I'm not sure I fully understand you, to be honest.
Yes, it's. I think he said that yes, it's mandatory, and the webhook validation will confirm that if you have a claim name specified, a request name must follow. It's a mandatory. It doesn't matter the implementation now. That's what.
Okay.
I think.
The webhook
Yeah, I think what Ale expressed is how it is defined in the struct itself. Like how do you write it in Go, so it would generate the schema and so on.
Okay. Yeah, so basically this is basically this is all I wanted to cover. Thank you very much. There is another issue which is not about network DRA, so up to you if you want to talk about it. It's about the request name in host devices and GPU. But again, it's not for that. If you want, we have a PR and we can discuss, unless you want to now.
No, the only thing that I'm interested now, for now, and I think we should finish, it just about one of the simple scenario will be that maybe this one will come like the only thing that is needed, like with SRV, that will have a DRA to serve the interfaces. But I'm guessing that if someone wants something like that, they may also want DRA or CPU specified using DRA, right? So the question is, we will the logic of how to create this or reference to that claim needs to come. It needs to be combined with everything, right? It cannot be like only network will do something. It must be part of something bigger. Like,
so, Eddie, just to clarify, are you asking right now who creates this resource claim template?
so I guess because yes, I want to connect it to everything else that we are talking about. Is it someone reads the VM now spec, the template spec, and calculates what needs to be the claim, or in this specific if with networking, we will always expect this claim to be there, and it needs to be part of the whole story. We don't want network to be very any different from anything else, especially when we know that some advanced cases will combine everything together.
Right. So, I think from my perspective at alpha level, this feature should have manually supplying resource claims, especially given the fact that the resource claim is very, very easy to come up with, right? Was that your original plan, or did you mean to generate this resource claim template?
No, I'm fine with what you just said. It's totally fine. But if you, for example, you will have this is the simple case will be that you have a claim that points to an existing claim, and it's only for networking, right? What happens when you want something more advanced? Like I want to point to a claim template that has the resource of a GPU, CPU, and the network.
So I think we can keep CPU separate from this conversation. I think the first biggest use case would be to keep GPU and network devices in the same claim, so we can align it on the PCI address or the PCI bus. And there, the user will provide a manual claim. The user will reference that claim in the resource claim section. So if you scroll down in the virtual machine, there is a resource claim. Yes. Here, the user will specify the resource claim. And in the GPU's request name, user will have GPU request. And in the network request name, the user will have VF as the request name. That way, VM knows where to get the GPU and the NIC from, and the user specifies that manually. At least that's what I had in my mind.
So it's like both the GPUs and the network will point to the same resource claim.
Yes.
Here in the same record, and that will sync all of them. Yes, that makes sense to me.
And you put the request name different, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any more things, please?
Sorry, what? Any
more things, comments, questions?
Yes, I have a few, please. Thank you for the presentation. I'm sorry for the background noise if you can hear it. I wanted to ask one for which versions of KubeVirt, which version of KubeVirt are we targeting?
We don't. It won't reach 1.8 at the moment. I will not manage to create the VEP, the first VEP in the VEP freeze. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, even if it was created today, then it will not get in. So it's all good. Even if it was a week before, it will not have been done.
Yeah.
So we are not. It's not 1.8.
Great, thank you. And one other question that I had, you previously mentioned that you want to put here the XML snippet. Like, would it be different from what we currently have?
No, it won't. It just the alias there, but even the alias we might have the same. We can basically do the same, and then the unplug during migration will be for free. But basically, it's the same.
Okay, and another question that I have is what happens if you will put a resource claim or claim name that doesn't represent an SRIOV device? Like what will happen if you put here a GPU or some other device?
I think it will try to bind it. I'm not sure. I didn't try. We know just the PCI. Maybe after all it will work. Just the Virt launcher doesn't check its IAVF and so on.
So I think we can have a reconcile time check where the Virt controller looks at the network device and its resource claim template and looks at the device class that is provided for the resource claim template, right? The device class will have an indication whether this is a network or a GPU device.
You mean, okay, you mean some sanity check?
Yeah, so spec.device, yes, that one.
If you want to check if your device is a networking device, you can check the status of the resource claim, and you have this. The driver can implement this and check if there's the network data that is filled or not, meaning that it has an IP, it has a MAC address, an interface name.
And a malicious user can't forge it, or we don't care for that?
Only the DRA driver that owns the device can or is able to set the network data or the device status. So nobody else can change it.
So you say check.
I missed something. Why do you need the Virt controller to see the actual, like, why can't we, why is it not enough for the Virt launcher to know this information? Orel, it's a question to you.
I was just interested what would happen, like, from a systematic point of view, like what would be attached to the pod. And for example, we would just, like plug it into the VM, like a generic PCI device. And it could be like anything, not necessarily an SRI or VVF.
But this is exactly like the SRV case. That today we depend on what Multus is reporting on the SRV, on this network status annotation, and we download API to the Virt launcher. So now we are expecting the DRA thing to download the API, this information into the Virt launcher. And I see it as the same thing. And there is an identification, like we do a mapping or correlation with what we requested and in what is there. And that's it.
Yes, but I think here you have more room for human error. Like, for example, you will put here a name of something else, like a GPU, for example, and then the whole system would do its thing, and the PCI device will be passed through to the pod, and then we would just put it in the VM, like we would pass it through to the VM without knowing what it is. And in the current state, we have the SRIOV device plugin that have to work, and we have the SRIOV CNI that will have to work. And here I'm not sure that this is the case.
My understanding from what Ale explained before was that that the information about what is plugged into the pod, the metadata information, is put there in a file, very similar to, or maybe it's even download API thing. That's the cap that he referenced before, and that information has enough details in order for you to do the correlation like you do today.
No, I think there is a gap here, which is both the GPU as well as the SRIV device will have PCI address, right? So how do you know that the user has provided GPU in the GPU field and the SRIOV device in the networking field and not the other way around?
Can
No,
you add a
but
type in the device in the cap? Can you add a type for that?
Yes. So currently the NVIDIA driver already has a type on the device, right? And it could be available inside of the CDI mount.
yeah, it must be. I mean, in general, I don't know. I don't think the type is enough. I mean, you need a one-to-one relationship with what was requested and what is inside it is plugged into the pod. That's it. It's one-to-one relationship.
No, but
As
that could be wrong, right? That
what do you mean
one-to-one
wrong? I don't
relationship
care.
could be wrong.
Wrong. Someone had a bug in the middle. I don't take care of. I mean, if it's a bug, someone will fix the bug, right?
No,
Device class is the type, isn't it? You need to put a type, a device class in the
yes,
step.
that's what we can check on. Yes.
Is it fine? Okay.
So I don't understand. What do you mean it's not a bug? Because the type is, I don't see why the type is enough. If I have two interfaces now and I'm plugging them, right, then I need to know how to distinguish between them. It's not enough to distinguish between the GPU and the interface device, the network device. I want to distinguish everything. I need an ID to distinguish them.
So I
Isn't
don't
this
think we can distinguish everything, Edward, because this device class is completely admin governed, right? So you can have, for example, who.device.com, and KubeVirt will not be able to know what that device is.
I guess you will have to explain this better. I don't really understand. If today we are able to do that with the information that is coming from the device info, and that's based that it assumes that Multus is doing the correct job and maps it correctly. So I will expect everything in this chain to do the same thing and allow me to have one-to-one relationship between what I ask and what I'm getting.
Right.
today?
So, or can you do me a favor and create a new copy paste this VM object in a new block? This VM object you have in the code? Yes.
This
That one? Yes.
If you want to have the full one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I will add you. Tell me what to do. I will add you offline, okay?
No. I think just a copy paste is fine. Doesn't have to be the right format, right? Okay. In this spec, can you change the in the devices section? Can you add along with interface? Can you add GPUs?
Just a moment, it jumped. Yeah, let's say, imagine that how you add the GPU.
Yes.
Like this?
Yes, that's correct. And then inside of that name, yes, equals to blue. Yeah. Now go in your resource claim template. Assume that blue is actually SRIOV device and red is a GPU device.
For that, you want to...
Yeah. So now in the resource claim template.
GPU, just a moment. I need to add the network. Let's say, imagine we have this one.
Yeah. Assume we have that.
Yeah, and this... and we need a request name.
Yes.
Let's like this one. So let's add a name, blue, and here a GPU.
Yeah.
Is it fine? No.
yes.
Claim name is the
single VF.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
Device. Okay. Yeah. It's this like this, something like that.
Yes, yes. Now in the devices, actually, the blue refers to a SRIOV device in real world, and red refers to a GPU device. But by mistake, user has given you this invalid configuration, right? This is what I think Orel is trying to get at. Is how will we detect this? Correct me if I'm wrong here, Orel.
Yes, you are right. Currently, with what we have with SRIOV, because we have both Multus that tries to invoke the CNI and the custom resource on the pod requests and limits, then we have like some circle being closed or circuit being closed. You need to have the device plugin, the correct device plugin running for SRIOV in order for the SRIOV CNI to consume its results and give you the proper PCI address in the end at the VM level or the Virt launcher level. And here, it seems to me like you can put whatever PCI address inside the Virt launcher pod and it will just pass it through to the VM with zero validation.
I think the device class here, this is a partially of validation. SROV.
In the end, let me ask you this. In the end, will this configuration somehow invoke the SRIOV CNI?
I think so, yeah. This is what Sebastian does with his driver by NRI hook, if I remember correctly, invokes the SRIOV CNI, yes. He doesn't re-implement the CDI, okay? This is his trick.
Okay, so I think what the problem that you have is reverse. You can put an SRIOV device instead of a GPU, instead of the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to solve this problem here. Or can you just capture this problem somewhere and we can find a way to solve it? It seems to me that there is a naive way we can do this, but we'll have to think it through.
Here it is, here.
Yeah, and I think it was Lionel or somebody who was mentioning about the status. So that there is a problem with the status, and that problem is it will only be available after the allocation has been called, right? It will not be available a priori. We might need to do this validation before calling the actual allocation instead of after.
You talked about the status we have today?
No, I think in the solution section, somebody mentioned that we can look at the network data in the resource claim status. That's what I was talking about.
In the resource claim.
I sent it in the chat. But the allocation doesn't do the downward API either, right?
This one?
Yes.
Okay, what we see here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Because this gives you an indication if it's a network device. If I think there are some examples below, and because there's this status that is for every devices, but you have this network data specifically made for network devices. So you can put the IP addresses, you can put the interface name, MAC address, and more data.
Okay, personally, we need to go over it offline. I'm not sure. I understand either, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Let's take this offline.
Yeah, thank you.
Unfortunately, we are getting at the top of the hour. I'll have to drop in a minute. Did we get to everything you had on your agenda?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add one more thing with your permission, because I also have to drop. It's important to add a goal that this solution must coexist with the existing, Multus and SIOV device plugin and SIOV CNI. This whole ecosystem must coexist with this solution, but it should be mutually exclusive. It's either you do a VM with this solution or the other.
Okay. Either just use one at a time for a VM. Okay. Maybe just in a few words, what? Okay, Leonel, what if you can offline talk with me, please, to what the issue you said here about status? I will edit.
Sure.
Thank you. That's it, basically.
I see Nestor is coming off
Yeah.
mute. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask you about mediated device as another topic. Is mediated devices in the related to the cryptographic adapters, but I will ping you afterwards this meeting because you said that you need to leave. So then I will write you via Slack.
Yeah, no problem. And we can take this up in the next meeting as well, if you want to discuss it online. So yeah, either way works for me. Just let me know.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.